Welcome to the VIDE Department of Education's 2020-2021 Parent and Community Educational Conference. Research has shown that parental involvement is a key factor in student achievement and students' overall success in life. It is also known to be true that parents tend to participate more in their child's education when they know how and when they feel knowledgeable and equipped with the tools to do so. With this in mind, the VI Department of Education has provided professional development for parents over the years, and we are pleased to continue providing this important and necessary support. What's new at the department, however, is the professional development we are providing for the VI community. This change is due to the fact that successful school systems have strong, positive, and consistent community support. And with this goal of rebuilding the community's trust in the Virgin Islands public education system, I am delighted to bring this educational conference to you. Your participation in today's conference will help to transform our public education system. I look forward to hearing about your experience today and the areas of the VI public education system you would like to learn more about. Remember, together we can transform public education in the Virgin Islands. Enjoy today's session.
Welcome. I am Rona Pini-Simon, the Director of Student Services in the St. Thomas, St. John District at the Virgin Islands Department of Education. With me today is Mrs. Renus Francis, my counterpart in St. Croix. Today, we will be sharing information with you on how to register your child in the Virgin Islands public education system. Next slide. Next slide. All states have mandates relating to when children must begin school and how old they must be before they drop out. The law dictates in the United States Virgin Islands Code, Title 17, Chapter or Section 82, that all children must attend school once they are between the ages of 5 and 18. When a child graduates, the attendance law no longer applies. And I just want to read for you the eligibility requirement based on the Virgin Islands Code, Title 17. All children shall commence their school education by attending an approved kindergarten from the beginning of the school year in the calendar year in which they reach their 5th birthday. And they shall continue to attend school regularly until the expiration of the school year nearest their 18th birthday. Next slide. Parents must realize that failure to ensure that their child is in school will result in the parent being fined. Now, the Virgin Islands Board of Education has established, the Virgin Islands Department of Education has established preschools within the St. Thomas, St. John District and the St. Croix District. In the St. Croix District, we have our Granny Preschool, and we have 3 campuses in St. Croix. In St. Thomas, we have the Sugar Apple Preschool. We have 2 campuses in St. Thomas. Registration is open to students to begin their school education in the calendar year in which they attain the age of 4. If you have an interest, feel free to contact the coordinators. In the St. Thomas District is Ms. Calamis Maduro. In the St. Croix District, we have Ms. Jacil Cruz Peters. They are divisions of curriculum and instruction coordinator for elementary programs. Next slide. Now, we have already established that the law dictates that children between the ages of 5 and 15 must be enrolled in school, whether it's a public school, private school, or parochial school. So if you wish to register your child in the Virgin Islands public school system, we welcome you. The eligibility requirements are simple. If this is the first time, if you've never registered your child in the public school system and you have an interest, first-time applicant, you are eligible. Secondly, If you withdrew your child from the public school system and would like to return, probably you relocated or your child attended a private school or parochial school, you are also welcome to register. Next slide. Now, in order to register, there are several documents that are necessary. You have to finalize the registration process. You have to show proof of your child's age. You have to show guardianship, and you must show the residency where you live, whether it's by showing your lease agreement or other documents. Next slide. Now, proof of guardianship. The parent of the student must provide a driver's license or a passport or a valid Virgin Islands government issued ID, because we have to ensure that the parent is actually the parent. Next slide. Other records that are required are birth certificate of the child, social security number, the last 4 digits of the child, court-issued custody or guardianship, because we know in many cases we may have a grandparent who may be taking care of a child, so you must show proof that you have custody of the child. Proof of residency, your address, for the proof of residency, as I mentioned before, it can be your mortgage statement, your lease agreement, your current electrical bill or your water bill, and in some cases, we have driver's license that may have your current address. We also have to show, you also have to prove that your child is actually in the grade indicated. Next slide. Now, there are times when parents are unable to provide residency information due to the family living with another family member. You may be living with a parent and the liability does not come to you directly. So in order to register your child, you have to have a residency affidavit. And this form can be provided by the registration department. It must be completed by the landlord, the renter, and it must be notarized. Also, there must be a proof of residency document must be provided by your landlord. Next slide. This is how the proof of residency form looks. Clearly, all that information must be provided. And once again, it must be signed and it must be notarized. Next slide. You also must show the proof of grade level from kindergarten to 8th. So if you're registering your child and your child is between the grades of kindergarten and 8th grade, you must show proof of the child's grade level. And this is done by providing the report card or progress report if required. Next slide. On the high school level, it's slightly different. In lieu of a report card, we require parents to provide an official transcript if your child is registering and your child is between the grades of 9th through 12th grade. Now, we are saying official transcript because we want to ensure that we place your child in the right grade. Once your child is attending high school, they have an opportunity to earn credits from whatever institution, whatever school they are being transferred from. So if they come to us and they have between 0 and 6 credits, that child will be placed in the 9th grade. If they have 7 to 12 credits, they will be placed in the 10th grade. If they have 13 to 18 credits, they will be placed in the 11th grade. And then in order to become a senior, actually once you have 18 credits, you can be considered a senior. The passing grade, you must have a cumulative average of a 70% in order to be promoted from one grade to the other. And in order to graduate, you must have 26 credits. And these 26 credits must include the required classes that are set up by Board of Education. Next slide. You also must provide health records. Immunization, all students must be immunized, and if they are not, they must provide an exemption letter, and this can be provided by Department of Health. Okay, student health summary form is provided by the district office. We ask for general information as it relates to the health condition of your child, because if anything happens, we would like to have a health history as to what health challenges your child may have. And we also encourage parents, if you have an individualized educational plan, if your child is a special needs child and they require individualized educational plan, we ask that you provide that information to us so that we can share it with our special education department. And then there are some students who may have a 504 plan. These are students who may have some kind of medical condition, for example, may have asthma or may have sickle cell, which requires them to have special services. It requires them to have accommodations in their instructions. And this information needs to be shared with us so that we can in turn share it with the schools, and they will be able to provide the services that your child deserves or by law is required to receive. Next slide. In terms of school assignments and placement, students are required to attend the school in their residential district. However, there may be instances where a student may be assigned or may apply to attend a school outside the residential district. And this usually happens when the parent may live on one end of the island and work on the other end of the island, and may wish to have their child attend a school closest to their workplace. So parents may apply for permission to have their child attend a school outside of the residential district. However, this application must be completed by from the Division of Student Services offices during the period between March and June. Next slide. Okay, now for the application. I just want to go back a little bit. Prior to COVID, in order to complete an application for your son or daughter, parents were required to come physically to the building, and they will receive a paper application. They will complete that application and the process begins. However, since COVID, we've made many changes. And one of the many changes that we've made, we have provided this application online. Next slide, please. So it's easy access for parents who are computer literate. If you just log on to the VIDE.vi site, you'll be able to access the application for registration by simply first clicking on for families or for students. And once you click on that link, you will see something that comes up on the upper portion, public school registration. Next slide. Once you select the public school registration page, you will scroll all the way down. And when you get to the bottom of that page, you will see an option to either select St. Croix district form or St. Thomas St. John district forms. You click on the appropriate section. Next page, please. And once you select either St. Thomas or St. Croix, this is what you will see. Next slide. This is the application. So on the application, you're required to complete each section. The student information section, which this section is, we're asking information about your child's name, previous schools that they may have attended, their address, their mailing address, telephone numbers. The next section where we ask specifically for parent and guardian information, which you provide your name, the relationship to the child, and you give us all your information. We always ask parents to be very diligent in providing the information and provide accurate information, because this is how we get in contact and be able to communicate with parents. And then the bottom section, we ask the relationship. for the mother and the father. So the male person, if there's more than one, the father and the mother, we need both parents' information on this application. Next page. And we want you to bear in mind when we're asking for the information of the parent, it has to be information of the parent. Parents are not allowed, unless it's like adopted or you probably have a stepfather. But other than that, we need the birth parent information. On this page, we need preschool information if your child is probably attending kindergarten, coming into kindergarten, and they attended a previous preschool. So you're required to put a preschool information here. If not, if they are coming from a private or parochial school, or off island, you can provide that information, previous school information in this section. And then we mentioned about the health information. This is just general health information that is asked. We do have a health form that we require parents to complete, which provides that additional health information that we need. And then siblings attending this public school district, that information is also required. Once everything is completed, you press the submit button. Next page, please. Next slide. And once you press submit, the application comes directly to us. In the St. Thomas St. John district, that is the email address provided. And then in the St. Croix district, that is the email that's provided. Now, your application comes directly to us. However, if you may have a question or an inquiry, or you may just need to talk to someone for some kind of guidance, you can also email us using these email addresses, and we will get back in touch with you. Next slide. Okay, now the final steps of registration. Once you press submit, online, you will be contacted, and we will schedule an appointment for you to come in and provide your documents. We spoke about the documents that are required, and the documents that are required are original documents. So we are asking parents to, when they're coming for their appointment, to bring original documents, original birth certificate, social security card, parent ID, court order or custody guardianship information, immunization records, and there's a clearance form that's provided by Department of Health or the exemption records. That clearance form you must bring in order to meet the health requirement. Other documents that we usually ask for, if your child is an English second language, if English is not your first language, then there is a language survey that's provided. If testing is needed, testing is done in order to place your child appropriately in the ESL program. And then these are other documents that are required. We spoke about the report cards and the transcripts. Once again, an official transcript is required. So we usually official transcripts, if someone is bringing a transcript to register their child, it must be in a sealed envelope. If it's not in a sealed envelope, then it's not official, or it must be from institution to institution. So in some cases, we will actually contact the previous school and request that official transcript. And then finally, the 504 or the IEP plan, spoke about that 504 plan. In some cases, there are some students that come to us to register and they already have an existing 504 plan, or they already have an existing IEP plan. That information needs to come to us so that we can share it with the school so that your child receives the services that are needed. Next slide, please. If you are unable to register online, which we know there are several parents who don't have access to internet, they don't have access to a computer, and they're challenged when it comes to registering online or even using a computer. So we provide services for you. We ask that you just come into the office. We have the locations here. You can come to the St. Croix district, or you can come to the St. Thomas St. John district, and we will provide the services that you need in order to get your child registered for in the public school system. Next slide. Once the registration process has been completed, The final item is the student admission slip. Without the student admission slip, you will not be able to start school on the first day that your child is registered to start school. So we will provide you with the student admission slip, and with that student admission slip, you will actually go to the school, and that will start your official admission to the school assigned. And it usually just have general information on it: the Government of the Virgin Islands, Department of Education, student admission form. It has a student name, the school that the student would be attending, the grade level, and the date that the child was registered in the district office. Next slide, please. Okay, now sometimes we have some, this is a frequently asked questions. Next slide. There are parents that frequently ask, what is the role of the emergency contact? There's a question on the application that asks about emergency contacts. And sometimes parents are confused as to who are emergency contacts, what is the role of the emergency contacts. The emergency contacts are individuals who you will expect the school, if your child gets in a fight, or if your child falls and break his leg or her leg, and we need to get in touch with you as a parent or a guardian. We are unable to get in touch with you based on the numbers that we have in our database. Then the emergency contact, this is a person who we will call in order to see if that person can get in touch with you. Now, bear in mind, the emergency contact person is not the person who will we share students' information with because of FERPA guidelines, because legally we are not supposed to share information about your child with anyone but you, unless you authorize Department of Education or your school to do that. Because in some cases we have parents who have provided emergency contacts. It may be a grandmother, and the parent can actually write a letter and say, I authorize Mary Jane Lou to pick up report card and inquiries on my child. So once that information is provided by the parent, that person does have access to your child, your son or daughter record. But unless we get that written document indicating that you are okay with it, legally, we cannot share information with anyone besides you, besides the mother and the father of the child. Next slide, please. Another frequently asked question is, can my child attend a school close to my workplace, or does my child have to be placed in an assigned neighborhood school? This happens many times, and it actually can happen if for a reason, let's say, for example, you live on one end of the island and you work on the other end of the island, and there's a need for your child to be closer to you because your child is in elementary, middle school, and it's easy access in terms of dropping off and picking up. You can make a special request through the Student Services Department, the district office, when you're registering your child, and make that request for your child to be in a different school. Now, once space is available, we will try our best to accommodate and meet your needs. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to share with you information about the process of the public school registration process in the Virgin Islands Department of Education. Rena Francis and I, we are in your respective districts, and we are available and willing to assist you with your registration needs. Just feel free to contact us. Our contact information is here. St. Croix District, we have Miss Rena Francis. St. Thomas, St. John District, we have yours truly, Rona Pini Simon.
So we're moving on to our question and answer segment. So if we have anybody on the call that would like to ask a question, you can either use the raise hand feature, or you could drop your question directly in the chat. If you're viewing via Facebook, you can post your questions in the chat as well, and we'll bring it over to our presenters. So let's see if we have any questions. You did such a great job explaining everything. We don't look like we have any questions.
That's great.
Good day, parents. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found the information valuable to understanding the VIDE's functions and beneficial to your ease of engagement with the Department of Education. You may access this information anytime by visiting vide.vi and clicking on the For Families tab. Thank you.